Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that I think gets all of us at some point.
It really does.
It's that single biggest enemy of just moving forward. You know, whether you're launching a company or just trying to navigate a huge life change.
It's that paralyzing fear.
Exactly. The fear of giving up control over the tempo of your own life.
And that internal resistance, it's just universal. I mean, for so many of us, the hardest part of any big journey isn't the external stuff at all.
Not the critics or the market or anything like that.
Right. It's managing the internal self-imposed expectation of perfection and control. We spend so much energy trying to dictate the outcome
that we never even get started.
We prevent the steps from even happening.
So for this deep dive, we found a really fantastic source. It's a deeply reflective piece titled "The Rhythm of Faith Over Fear."
Now, the language is metaphorical, a bit spiritual even.
It is. But our mission today is to really extract the core psychological and practical insights for you. We're sort of translating faith and fear into the mechanics of active trust versus, well, paralyzing inertia.
Exactly. And we're going to frame this whole conversation around three, I think, really critical ideas from the source.
Okay.
First, there's tempo, which is like the external pace of life. Then there's control, our obsessive internal need to dictate that pace.
And the last one.
And finally, the pulse. That's the inherent movement we're actually meant to follow, even when we're not certain.
So our goal is to answer a question that I think should genuinely surprise you. Why is the fear of success sometimes so much more debilitating than the fear of failure?
And how do we finally loosen our grip on that anxiety machine the source calls the metronome?
Then the metronome grip. That's what we need to figure out.
It's the first thing we have to loosen.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately because the source, it starts with this fascinating distinction about where the real paralysis lies.
It does.
You'd think the author is afraid of chaos, of noise, but they say what they fear is not the storms or the opposition.
Which is so counterintuitive. We always think fear is the crash, the big loud thing.
Right.
But the source, it zeroes in on the most vulnerable moment. It says, I fear the silence right before I move.
That silence, it's the pause, isn't it? That moment where there's just no external confirmation that what you're about to do is right.
But wait, I mean, isn't that silence necessary for preparation?
That's a great question. We can't just jump without looking. So where's the line between healthy reflection and just being stuck?
And that's the critical distinction the source makes. The pause is necessary, but the fear comes when that pause just stretches on forever into stagnation.
So the silence is that moment where the rhythm, the beat, it has to shift.
It has to. And you have to decide, do you stay in the beat, which is safe but gets you nowhere, or do you step into one that is, as the source says, unheard yet?
So one is reflection that leads to action, and the other is just clinging to what you know.
Even if the music has changed, that's the paralysis.
So the silence is terrifying because it forces a choice without any guarantees.
Exactly. It's the gap between knowing you should move and actually, making your body do it. That silence is filled with possibility, but also with so much risk.
And the source really drills down into why we seize up in that moment. It asks what's really standing in the way of going after what it calls the one thing God keeps placing back in my hands every time I try to lay it down.
And let's universalize that a bit for everyone listening.
Yeah, good idea.
We're talking about that persistent, that undeniable calling, the career shift, the creative project, that thing you keep trying to ignore because it feels too big or too scary.
But it just keeps coming back.
It keeps coming back to you. The source is basically saying the real fight isn't with anything outside of you. It's an internal wrestling match.
And that this thing, this returning goal, is the signal that you need to move. And the biggest barrier isn't external pressure, it's our own expectations.
Absolutely. The whole conflict gets boiled down to this incredible insight where the author asks, what's keeping me from surpassing expectations? Not theirs, but mine.
Whoa.
Right. It suggests the deepest paralysis comes from the ceiling we build for ourselves. We're afraid of moving past the comfortable, manageable version of who we are.
We're afraid of who we might become if we actually achieve the thing. Because that person is unknown, uncontrollable.
And that new person might demand even more movement in the future.
So analysis paralysis is just self-imposed control. It's not a lack of data. The inertia comes from the fear of exceeding our own known limits.
And that brings us to the biggest shocker in the entire piece.
Which is that the real fear isn't failing.
It's what comes after you succeed.
This is where it gets really interesting. The source just lays it out. Is the obstacle the fear of failing? Or is it the fear of succeeding?
The fear of realizing I'm no longer in control of the tempo.
And that is such a profound shift in perspective.
It really is.
Yeah.
Failure, ironically, can feel safe.
Hmm.
It keeps you within your known world.
You fail, you confirm what you already believed about your limits, and you get to retreat back to the old rhythm.
But success, I mean real, meaningful success, that can launch you into a trajectory you just cannot predict or manage. The stakes change, the scale changes, the expectations on you completely change.
When you succeed, when the book is a bestseller or the product scales, the momentum just takes over.
You might have to delegate, to hire people, to trust others. You have to play music you didn't personally write.
And that loss of absolute granular control is terrifying for someone who believes that planning equals safety.
The source is very confessional about this. It says it leans hard on my own timing and my own understanding.
And this isn't just about planning, it's about micromanaging the future.
To the point of, and I love this line, counting steps before my foot ever leaves the ground.
That line just captures it all. It perfectly describes the human cost of analysis paralysis.
It costs you everything. Opportunity, peace, your own energy. You're using up future resources right now, in the present.
It's the definition of burnout. You're doing all the psychological work of the journey without ever taking a single physical step.
You waste so much energy on contingency plans for things that will never happen because you haven't moved far enough to even encounter them.
It's like studying a map for 2 years instead of just starting the car and turning on the GPS.
That's it. The critical insight here is that trying to perfectly anticipate and control the rhythm is what prevents you from joining the actual pulse.
You're so busy trying to calculate the music that you never start dancing.
You're waiting for the full sheet music to appear before you'll even play the first note.
And if you wait until you know how it all resolves,
Yeah.
you'll just never move. Because the movement is the resolution.
Exactly. Clarity is the reward of movement, not the prerequisite for it. The path straightens out because you are walking on it.
So if the problem is this self-imposed control, the solution has to be something outside of that. And this is where the source introduces faith, which we're calling active dynamic trust.
Right, and it says this act of trust doesn't move like that. It doesn't move by counting steps.
So how does it move?
It's defined as the opposite. It's confidence that's rooted in forward motion, and it uses these 3 beautiful rhythmic metaphors.
Okay, lay them out for us.
First, active trust is described simply as a rhythm. It's not a static belief. It's an ongoing beat that requires you to participate.
And the second?
Second, it's a trust fall in motion. This is key. It's the idea that you've already started moving and the trust is built into the motion itself.
Okay, hold on. That sounds great in theory. But what does movement as trust look like when the stakes are really high? Like quitting your job for a passion project. How is that not just reckless?
That's where the nuance comes in. You're surrendering your need to know the resolution, not your need to do the preparation.
You still tie your shoes.
You still tie your shoes. The trust fall in motion means you're committed to the direction and you trust the ground will appear as you move. Recklessness is just jumping off a cliff. This is taking the first step on a trail you can't fully see yet.
I see. Okay. And the third definition?
The third one says active trust is a steady beat before the melody makes sense.
I like that.
It's the foundation, the commitment, the daily habit, the thing you do no matter what, even when the outcomes, the melody, are still chaotic or unknown.
You commit to the beat even if the song sounds messy right now.
That's it. And this all leads to the big actionable shift the source demands from us.
Which is?
You have to actively stop gripping the metronome and instead start following the pulse.
Gripping the metronome.
Yeah.
That's demanding perfect, predictable timing from yourself and the world. That tick-tock that makes you anxious when you miss a beat.
And following the pulse, that implies surrender. It means you're letting something larger than your own will flow through you instead of you trying to dictate everything.
So in practical terms, letting go of the metronome means surrendering the need to know how it all resolves.
It's trusting that the path straightens as I keep walking. I mean, in a professional context, it's launching the product before every single bug is fixed.
Trusting that you'll find the solutions in the active process of the launch itself.
Yes, it's setting the date for that difficult conversation. Trusting the right words will come because you're committed to the movement.
So the delay, the pursuit of perfection, is actually a choice against resolution. So if we do this, if we adopt this rhythm, what does the final state even look like?
Well, this is crucial. The source does not promise some kind of blissful, zen-like calm. It's very realistic.
So what does this all mean in the end? The source is very clear. that the goal is not to eliminate fear completely.
Right. It confirms that fear still shows up. Achieving a fearless state is not the goal. It's not even possible.
So what changes?
It's like a change in the organizational chart of your mind. Fear still shows up for work, but it doesn't lead anymore.
It's not the CEO.
Exactly. It's not the CEO. And this is where the continuous conscious action comes in. The movement is deliberate. I move anyway, step by step, breath by breath.
It's not one giant leap of faith. It's thousands of tiny decisions to just choose movement over paralysis. If you struggle with consistency, that's the whole takeaway.
Your goal isn't perfection. It's just the repetition of that simple rhythm, step by step.
And this choice is how we manage that loss of control we were so scared of earlier.
Right. You accept the uncertainty of the big outcome, and you focus intensely on the certainty of the immediate next step, the smallest step. And once you start, the movement creates its own pulse.
So for a massive goal, like writing a book, choosing this rhythm means you just stick to your daily page count.
Even when you hate what you're writing.
Even when you have no idea how the third act is going to resolve itself, you're choosing the beat over the feeling.
Perfectly stated. The resolution is about prioritizing the rhythm you choose to live by. And the source concludes with this amazing commitment.
Faith over fear, not because fear is gone, but because I've chosen which rhythm gets my body, my heart, my yes.
That is the ultimate takeaway. It is a conscious choice of allegiance to a tempo. You have two rhythms playing.
The frantic, calculated counting of the metronome, that's fear and paralysis.
Or the steady, forward flow of the pulse. That's active trust and momentum.
The deepest fear we uncovered today is that loss of control over your own tempo. That's what leads to counting the steps before your foot even leaves the ground.
And the source suggests active trust is just the decision to surrender that need for a perfect resolution, commit to the forward pulse, and step out into the unheard rhythm anyway.
So before we close out, we want you to take a moment and reflect on that core metaphor from the source. That one thing you keep trying to lay down, but it keeps finding its way back into your hands.
We want to encourage you to ask yourself, what specific goal, what calling have you avoided because you'd have to surrender control over the outcome? What silent moment of decision are you facing right now?
That pause right before you move.
That pause, the one that requires you to stop gripping the metronome and just choose a new rhythm. Step by step, breath by breath.
Choose the pulse, not the counter. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.